Hey everyone, this is Stephen Demopoulos. I'm an estate planning and probate lawyer in Los Angeles. Today I'll be talking about how to protect your anonymity when you own property. If you have any questions about what I talk about today or otherwise, you want to set up a call with me, you can go to estate-meeting.com. That's estate-meeting.com. So protecting anonymity when you own property. These days, it's very easy to type in someone's name in the internet and you can find properties they own, you can find their private residence address, you can find out all this sort of creepy information about people. So anonymity has become an increasing interest of people about how to protect their anonymity so that people can't look up their name or they can't look up a property address and find out that they are the owners. So there are a few different methods of dealing with this. One method that is probably the most commonly understood approach is to use an LLC. An LLC can work very well. It works perfectly fine for investment properties, but an LLC shouldn't be used for your personal residence. And the reason for that is that LLCs, the purpose of business entities like LLCs is to protect your personal liability from business activity. So for an investment property makes income, that's a business activity, an LLC is perfectly fine. But for your personal residence, in most cases, people aren't earning income from their personal residence, so an LLC would not be the proper device to protect anonymity. Instead, the best way to deal with protecting your anonymity for your private residence is to use revocable trusts. And there are two approaches to using revocable trusts. To do this, one of them is kind of problematic. The other approach is the approach that I prefer, but I'll talk about both today because they're both commonly used. So the first approach is the problematic approach. And what this approach involves is you set up a revocable trust, you appoint someone else as the initial trustee, then you are the trustee after that person. And so what happens in this case is you set up that trust, then you transfer ownership of the properties into that trust with that other person as the initial trustee. So that other person will be signing the deeds will be recorded, then that other person's name shows up as the trustee. Then after all the deeds are recorded, after all the assets have been transferred, then that person resigns as trustee, then you step up as being the actual trustee of the trust. So then at that point, you have total control. So this can work initially. It does protect anonymity initially, but down the line, there might be some problems if you want to sell the property, if you want to do some refinancing or something. Some title companies might have an issue with the actual trustee who appears on the deed not being the actual controlling current trustee. So that can work initially, but there are some problems down the line that could happen. So the second approach is the approach that I prefer, and this involves you execute two revocable trusts. One trust is your main revocable trust. You execute that as you normally would. You are the trustee of that trust. That trust has all of the states how you want your estate to pass when you die. That's the ultimately controlling document. Then you execute another trust. That other trust lists another person as a trustee. That other person could be me as your attorney. It could be someone else. So then that other trust will be the trust that actually holds your property. So you execute both trusts. Then that second trust with someone else as a trustee, you transfer all of your assets, all of your property, just your property, your house, your personal residence. You can do investment properties too. You transfer all that stuff into that second trust. And what that second trust says is that when you die, everything that's in that trust will pass to your main trust and then pass by the terms of your main trust. And so when you transfer everything into that second trust, that other trustee is the trustee who appears on the deed. That is the name of that trust is the trust that appears in the public records. So when people do a search, that other person's name will come up, but not your name. So hope that makes sense. If you want to ask me any questions about protecting anonymity, you want to talk about estate planning, probate stuff, you can go to estate-meeting.com, estate-meeting.com. Thank you for listening.